not sure who Tony Blake was, to be honest. He was a swimmer, I know that, and an incredibly passionate one. But that person doesn't exist anymore. I think there were just points in his life when he needed to escape. He was searching for something that hadn't become clear yet. The irony is, people were searching for him, and he was trying to find himself. Tony Blake's life almost seems like a dream. Like all dreams, eventually you wake up.
I chose to be a competitive swimmer. It's a nationally ranked high school swimmer, recruited by colleges. Ended up going to Yale and swimming at Yale.
Fierce competitor. You know, I'll go out and I'll race anyone. And he usually put his money where his mouth was.
I won conference championships, set conference records. My sophomore year, I became the first African-American swimmer to make the All-Ivy League swim team. I wanted to become the first African-American on the U.S. Olympic swimming team.
The 1992 Olympics became a consuming quest, the culmination to all those years and practice laps in the pool. In 1991, his junior year at Yale, Blake entered a pre-qualifying event for the Barcelona Games. This was supposed to be his moment.
This was like my best shot, my last shot to qualify. And in my best event, the 100-meter freestyle, I missed the qualifying time by 0.8 of a second. I just didn't do it. And I knew that that quest was over. I was heartbroken.
He was devastated. When you don't make the goal that you're shooting for, depression sets in.
Shortly after returning to campus, Blake spent a few days in the psych ward of a campus hospital. A roommate had found him passed out near pill bottles. Blake says it wasn't an earnest suicide attempt, but his failure to swim in the Olympics and fulfill a lifelong goal, it was crushing. He was eventually convinced to remain on the team for his senior season, but even an Ivy League title couldn't curb Blake's urge to defy convention.
My heart really wasn't in it. I didn't want to be at Yale, and 3 days after winning that championship, I left school.
You finished your degree?
No, I just up and left.
Hey.
I kind of checked out of the system. I went off the grid. I was on to a new chapter.
We had a sort of a lookout, which was called the Tony Blake sightings. And if anybody saw Tony, they would call me and say, I saw Tony in San Francisco, I saw Tony in Portugal. He would appear in Fort Lauderdale, and then a couple of months later in London, Turkey. And you'd be like, how the hell did he get there?
Blake spent the next 15 years after he left Yale circumnavigating the globe. Eventually, he returned to Yale to finish his degree, even if he didn't have the funding for housing.
He ended up sleeping in a team locker room, but he came in and graduated with a Yale degree.
Another legacy of his travel, in Africa, he adopted a new name, Siphiwe. For his surname, he chose Baleka, an anagram of A. Blake, which appropriately means fast and escape. He also began looking for a new career, one to fit his rambling man spirit.
I loved truck driving. You're seeing America, you feel free.
Talk about the health and fitness of your average truck driver.
Truck drivers are dying 10 to 15 years earlier than the average North American male.
It's a notoriously unhealthy profession. 2/3 of all truck drivers are obese, double the national average. Baleka quickly experienced this firsthand.
I gained a lot of weight. I gained 10.7% of my body weight. For most of my life, you know, I was ripped. I had the six-pack abs, and now I didn't. Now I had love handles. It scared me. You know, it didn't take a rocket scientist to realize that I was going to end up like the 86% of America's truck drivers that are overweight. I didn't want to end up like that. Ultimately, what I realized was I needed to be able to stop the truck, work out for 15 minutes, get back in the truck, and get rolling. I'd be in a truck stop. There'd be a couple hundred trucks there. And here's this one guy right there working out on his truck. Drivers would talk about me on the CB. Some of them would be laughing. Some of them would be mocking. They're thinking to themselves, what is this guy doing? And then it occurs to them that they could be doing it, and they're not.
From his base in Missouri, Baleka came up with a workout plan designed specifically for truckers. He was one of them. He knew the challenges and rhythms of the job.
Come on, man, really push it. Come on, climb that mountain, James.
Soon, hundreds of drivers from his fleet had enrolled, and Baleka was coming to be known as the fittest driver in America.
That's what you want to do before you start driving. Don't worry if people are looking at you. Most of the drivers that come to me are the ones that come to me because they're scared. They've just been to a doctor, they've been diagnosed with pre-diabetes, or they have high blood pressure, they've hit rock bottom. Welcome to Driver Health and Fitness. This is our group driver workout for the day. You can do this anywhere, anytime, when you're getting unloaded. Work out. Good. Come on.
When I came into this industry, I was weighing about 285 pounds. I lost about 35 pounds. It was life-altering to me.
I want you to think about that. Whoever it was that cut you off in traffic, whoever it was that got you mad this week.
When I first saw people doing it before I started the program, I always told myself I would never do that. Well, eventually I did, and it helped.
We're good. High fives, everyone. Good job.
I want to revolutionize this industry. I want to make the unhealthiest occupation in America one of the healthiest.
Thousands of drivers have now been through the program. Overall, Baleka's fleet has cut its obesity rate 20% from the national average. He's been inspired too. Several years ago, he returned to a passion that hadn't seized him in almost 20 years, competitive swimming. At age 40, he qualified for the Masters Nationals and took first in 2 events. 2 decades after failing to make the U.S. Olympic team, he was a national champion.
He does what he wants to do, and he'll put everything he can into it, and there'll be meaning for doing it.
I don't think about the past failures of Tony Blake anymore. I've come full circle. You never really know what the future will hold, or where you may end up, or why. So just dive in.